As I sit here at 6 o'clock in the morning thinking about what my day is going to include, I start to remember a time in which I think it was about 3 years where I went from a minimum wage job to a job that pays substantially more. And at the time, it felt like ambition was starting to start up inside of me. Like there was actual hope at escaping a level one life. But as I settled into the little things, being able to eat every day, buying a car, buying slightly nicer clothes, and having money to actually live. Well, when you're starting out at minimum wage, you're completely in survival mode. So when you have such an increase in money, it feels like so much. But then you get there and the ambition dies. And my ambition has been gone for a very, very long time. Ambition dies once you leave college. Ambition dies when you're not meeting anyone. I mean, really not meeting anyone. I'm sitting here in the dark, wondering why I even woke up. There's just no ambition to try. And if the girl who cut my hair yesterday is any indication, most women have very little ambition to try for themselves. Either you're attractive enough to attract someone, or you're going to go the other route. And most of us, not me, but most of us will have to settle for a lipstick with a pig with red lipstick on it. I try to put the pig or the lipstick on before I got the pig. Pigs are slippery. So your ambition just starts to go right off of a cliff. And you don't understand why you're no longer attractive to women or why women were never attracted to you. But it's not like it's just completely gone. It's something I mention quite frequently in my videos is that it's there where we can see it, but it's a one-way mirror. That's how I feel about ambition. Ambition might as well be the neon sign in front of that mirror where we can see everything that's happening, but it's not going to happen to us. And so we become more bitter, we become more depressed, we become more anxious. I would say we even become more aggressive. I've noticed that about the proletariat that aggression seems to run around like a you know, like a rabid animal, and no one really knows why. I think maybe it's just because we know we're trapped. Have you ever seen the animals, what they look like when you go to the Phoenix Zoo? They kind of just patrol their little square all day long, thinking about maybe someday, if something good happens to them, they'll be able to get out of that cage. I know I go around in my cage all the time and I think there's no way out. The zookeeper has the key and he puts in my dog food in my cage every day and then he leaves and I'm stuck here. So that's the introductory monologue. Of course, I don't script that, so you never know how I'm going to be feeling this morning. But I went into ChatGPT. I wrote a little bit about how I felt. I did a chunky paragraph. And then I told it to give me some talking points. And the title it came up with, The Ambition in America is Long Gone. So, and these are my two talking points: a system design of stagnation, the illusion of opportunity. So, talking point number one is going to start like this: modern economic systems are structured to keep people in perpetual cycles of survival. Creates a mental shift from aspiring for success to simply accepting the mediocre life. As I sit here in the dark, twiddling my thumbs, thinking about Monday morning, there is nothing that is going to happen between now and then that will bring any joy, that will bring any sort of feeling to my life. I'm just going to sit here and wait for work to start because I neither have the time, energy, or ambition to seek anything out. I'm just going to let the time pass, looking at the clock minute by minute until it's time to go back to the factory. And that's how most pros spend their lives. There aren't any tools, there aren't any ways. We can't tunnel our way out of tier one jobs, or worse yet, tier one lives. Susie Rottencrotch is behind a paywall now because even she wants a guy making at least a good salary, good six figure, maybe 650. As I've heard what women really want to see in the men in their lives. But for us, Johnny Sixpack, who is just a worker, there really isn't much to the perpetual cycle. We get paid every other Friday. Our pay barely covers our bills, so we don't really have money for any type of actual entertainment. As I've made videos about this in the past, the proletariat spends its money very simply on what it calls entertainment, the cheapest form. We watch a lot of Netflix, we go to the park, we that's it. If it doesn't involve video games, streaming something, or going someplace that's free, the proletariat doesn't touch it. It's just kind of a known rule. So once your mind shifts from aspiration to the end of ambition, you simply accept the fact that there's no way out. Many of us have tried. I mean, I almost feel like being part of the proletariat is one giant scam. Like, you're presented with your life, and it's up to you to create a life in which you're not stuck living an unacceptable life, like this super low quality life, which also comes with the proverbial can of dog food. Because to me, that's what prol food tastes like. It's not getting better, it's getting worse every day. And you're expected to sit there, and any agitators are going to be dealt with. All right, so the illusion of opportunity, and that's the big one for me. Promises are often unachievable for most people. Upward mobility in the workforce just doesn't happen. And when my Gen Z asks about upward mobility or careers, I ask them, just look around you. All of these men around you, the older men that work here, the men that have already devoted at least 5 years into this company, do you think that they would still be working here if they had the ability to move up or get better jobs? And the fact is, right now, it is a tough job market. I think I'm going into 4 weeks with knowing this person that got fired 4 weeks ago, and she's still trying to figure out how she's going to get unemployment benefits. And no matter how many times I've told this person that unemployment benefits are only $200 a week, they don't understand. A lot of people who haven't fallen on truly hard times don't understand how to live like this. For many of us, once we lose our jobs, if we have them, we're going to move into our cars. In fact, I've read 2 or 3 comments already today of people making that decision to move into their cars. Because moving into your car is just one level above living on the street, and that's what you have to do. Because on the street is extremely dangerous. But before we go down that path, I just wanted to finish talking about this a little bit more, because these are 10-minute videos in the morning. That's why we only have 2 talking points. And so, as you move into your car, you think about the American dream. All the promises that just aren't achievable for people because we didn't get the proper, I'm going to say, instructions on how to win at the game of life. If you're part of the proletariat, the playbook on how to become rich is never accessible to you. The playbook is handed down between networks of high ranking friends, between family, and between connections that you might make at an Ivy League school in college. For the rest of us, when we get down here, we go on Indeed and look for a job. And as I've said this before, Indeed's a real crap hole when it comes to looking for jobs, and that's it. They repost and repost the jobs that no one wants. And the reason for that is, why would they post anything good? The jobs at the bottom are designed for Johnny Sixpack and Susie Rottencrotch. They're the people that can wake up every morning, put on their goofy hat, put on their name tag, and waddle over to McDonald's and ask if you want fries with that. In fact, there's, I believe, thousands of workers or hundreds. The French fry industry isn't doing as well. So I heard recently that they had to lay off some French fry makers because people are starting to turn away from things that don't taste good. And McDonald's used to be the best place to get French fries, but they're not selling as many. And every time there's a shortage of something, they've got to cut people. That's the first thing you do when you're not making any profit. You cut the people. Because cutting the salaries of the executives wouldn't be the right move. So, with that said, let's get into toxic positivity for the last minute here. So, in toxic positivity, I put what's been a recurring theme in this particular video so far is a loss of ambition. And I think ambition is lost very, very quickly when men realize that they're not going to be getting it on. Once you realize that that depressing uniform isn't doing it for Susie Rottencrotch anymore, and Susie Rottencrotch, for I think for many generations now, has come to not want to be a single mom. So she's a little pickier. There are a lot less families out there, a lot less, especially among Gen Z. There's a lot less young children in our society and a lot more old farts out there. And I think that loss of ambition has to do with both men and women realizing that they can't afford children. They don't want children. Personally, I don't like children or animals, but they don't want them. They would rather sit at home twiddling their thumbs in the dark, like I am